Hey guys, it's October 20th, 2018. If you are watching this video, it's probably because you saw it on my personal Facebook page or via a link that I posted in a support group for dysautonomia or postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Before I get started, I'm making this video because October is Dysautonomia Awareness Month, and dysautonomia is an umbrella term used to describe conditions that affect your autonomic nervous system. And your autonomic nervous system is basically controls your heart rate, your breathing, your digestion, and everything that you don't really have to think about. So dysautonomia is a malfunction of your ANS. So my story goes back to August 17th, 2011. The day was great. My sister and I worked together, and we decided that we were going to have a birthday dinner, just the two of us. My sister actually surprised me, and three or four of my coworkers and friends showed up too for our surprise. For me, it was a surprise for the birthday dinner. I remember just sitting at a hibachi restaurant, and we were all just looking at the menu, having a good time. And then all of a sudden, everybody's voices kind of started fading, and the room started to get really dark. And I told one of my friends to the right of me, I said, "Hey, I'm not feeling very well. Can we go outside? I think I need some air. Maybe it's too hot in here." So I step off of the kind of like the bar stool, and all of a sudden I just drop, and I don't remember anything after that. But then I remember that the ambulance was taking me away, and at that point I really didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was a fluke. I even was joking around with my friends, and I was like, I called them, I was like, "You guys better stay here and eat the nice hibachi dinner that we had planned. I'm okay." So that was on a Tuesday, I believe. And a couple days maybe after that, I went to work, and the friends that I had gone to dinner with are also my coworkers. So I was just sitting at my computer, and I was typing away, and all of a sudden this feeling of being really hot and sweaty, and my heart was just like pounding. It started to overcome me again. And I told my coworkers, I was like, "Hey, listen, whatever happened to me a couple of days ago is happening to me again." And one of my coworkers actually took me home. And so days turned to weeks turned to months, and I was having these feelings of like needing to pass out, and I knew that something was wrong. At first I thought it was a fluke, but then I started to realize that like something was wrong. And to kind of put in perspective how I was prior to 2011, I was a very healthy individual. I never had the flu, didn't break anything, never really got sick. In high school, I basically almost had perfect attendance, and when I worked, I rarely called out. So I was a very healthy, active individual. So for these things to be happening, I knew that something wasn't right. I knew that something had switched that day of August 17th, 2011. Something had switched, and my body was in this constant war zone of experiencing like brain fog and tachycardia, or like increased heart rate and breathing problems and digestion problems. I knew that something was absolutely wrong. So fast forward to January 2012, my doctors recommended a tilt table test for me, and I'll go into details about exactly what a tilt table test is, but that's basically to test whether or not you have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And with that test is you start off in a laying position, and then they kind of elevate you and they track your heart rate and your blood pressure, and then they put you in an upright position and they also track your heart rate and your blood pressure. And the point of that test is to see whether or not you faint or you pass out within a certain time that they do the test. And when I got there, I was like, I'm not going to pass out. Like, this is kind of silly. But within, I think I want to say a few minutes of the test, I started to feel that feeling again where I was like, oh my God, like everything's dimming again. Everybody's voices were kind of like fading again. I told the nurses, I'm like, I'm passing out. And then I completely passed out. I woke up and the nurses were kind of like happy, and I didn't understand why. But at that moment I realized that that's because they were able to get a diagnosis. Prior to that, I was going to neurologists and all these other doctors, and they couldn't really figure it out. So 2012 was the year that I was officially diagnosed with postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is a form of dysautonomia. And to put it in layman's term, for those of you who don't know the symptoms of POTS, it's basically you get brain fog, you get migraines, you get like stomach pains and digestive issues, you get problems breathing, you get constant fatigue. It's just a whole bunch of symptoms that your body is going through that doesn't allow you to properly function throughout the day. And from 2011, 12, 13, 14, it was even 15. It was really hard because I didn't know what was happening to my body. I didn't know what the outcome was. I didn't know what the prognosis of this condition was. And it was actually very hard for me to kind of take it all in. Oh my God. I thought I was going to get emotional, but okay. Pause. Okay, sorry guys, I didn't think that I was going to be emotional talking about this, but here I am. I think the reason why I got really emotional is because now that I think about it, like I went through so much. I was seeing so many different doctors. I was seeing my primary care physician, I was seeing an electrophysiologist, I was seeing 2 cardiologists, I was seeing a neurologist, and I had a whole entire team of doctors basically trying to figure out what was happening to me. And I didn't realize basically how different things would be. I didn't know how to deal with it. But over the years, it's been such a big learning process. And compared to how it was back in 2012 to now, I can fortunately say that things have gotten actually a lot better. I'm not completely asymptomatic, but I do have like a lot more good days than I had back in 2012. And I just want to end this message with the thought that you guys have to listen to your body and take care of your body. The cause of my POTS and dysautonomia is unknown, although I do have a couple of theories on it. But as of right now, the doctors don't know what caused it, being like me being before that a super healthy individual. But my message is to kind of listen to your body and take care of your body and appreciate the days that you have. If you're a completely healthy individual, appreciate the days that you have where you're able to function properly and not have to go through all these different symptoms. for all of my POTS fighters and people going through this, people who just recently diagnosed, I want you to know that there's a lot going out there in terms of people with support groups, research that's being done, and I want you to know to just keep on fighting. And then there's people out there in the world that is in the same situation as you, and to just kind of reach out to them. Okay, not gonna cry anymore, but that's it. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to send me a message or comment or whatever, and I'll be glad to answer it. I hope you guys have a great Saturday. Bye.